All right, happy Friday, YouTube. Today is day 2 in Buenos Aires, and Hope decided to come along today as she was feeling up to it, even though she's been a little under the weather with a cold. And you may notice I am wearing the same clothes, but not to worry. I have taken a shower, so everything is all good. Today we are going to be going to a different part of the city, closer down to the waterfront. So hopefully we will have some new and interesting sights for you to see in just a minute. I'm going to swing the camera around and show you where we're at, because right now we are pretty far downtown, much further than I was yesterday. Over here to the right is the palace. You can see it there in the distance. We're going to go over there in a minute, but we're going to make our way down here to the end, to the monument at the far end down here. A little street market out here. Some people selling their wares and goods.
¿Dólares cambio?
Back there in the street market, there was a guy who was making some small art pieces out of wire, and that is the type of thing that I would really love to support when I come to places like this. You know, independent guy doing his art on the streets, and the stuff is very, very impressive. And I might actually go back there and buy something from him in a second. And so my only fear with that is that I buy something like that and then I put it in my luggage and it gets completely screwed up, because I don't have any way of transporting it home without destroying it, especially since the wire and the sort of filigree that he's doing looks so fine. So Buenos Aires is certainly a beautiful city. It hasn't disappointed in that way at all. But one of the interesting things here that is been pretty prevalent is sort of this behind me. So they have a lot of beautiful statues here and things like that, and monuments. But unlike a lot of other cities, say in Europe or even in the States, they're all surrounded by these massive fences and guardrails and things like that. And I'm wondering if it's some sort of a consequence of vandalism or you know, graffiti, or even all of the protests. There's often a lot of government protests here, from what I've heard. You can, any day of the week, any time of the day, you can run into a large protest that's going on somewhere here in the city, and so possibly they're defacing the statues or something like that. I'm not really sure, but it's just kind of odd that everywhere you go, the statues have these massive fences, you know, big steel fences, either erected permanently around them or sort of a semi-permanent nature where they're, you know, put up with cinder blocks and sandbags and that type of thing. So we have found our way into this lovely white building, which initially I had thought was a church, but it may have been at one point, but is now being used as a really lovely museum. Free admission right off the square here in downtown Buenos Aires. And some really wonderful exhibits in here. This painting is something else. See what it says about it over here. Leonie Mathis, 1883 to 1952. 1952, so this is relatively recent. This is a recreation in video of the beginnings of Buenos Aires. There's some of the colonial representation of Argentina here in this room here, showing the government's setup, as well as some of the original plans for the downtown area, when the buildings were built, how they were built. And over here on this wall, some of the original aristocrats of the era. So we have found ourselves in the Museum Cabildo in downtown Buenos Aires, and we are out on the patio in the front here, which is lovely. You can see the view out behind me. But one of the frustrating things is in the museum here, and also generally in the parks and places that we've gone, all of the statuary, the exhibits, anything like that, the descriptions are only in Spanish. In a lot of places where you go, there's other languages that are listed next to them, but here that is not the case. It is all Spanish all the time. And unfortunately, it makes it a little bit difficult for us to figure out what we're looking at. I have a Spanish translator on my phone, but depending on whether or not the internet signal is any good, it's a little bit difficult to get it to work sometimes. So that's been a little bit frustrating. The courtyard here at the Museum Cabildo could not be more picturesque. This is really pretty space in here, and it's the differentiation between the front building and this rear building here, which was the living quarters when the home was built. Here you can see, I guess, the original well as well right here. Beautiful, beautiful courtyard here, and the weather today just makes it that much nicer. Really lovely place. You can tell that probably when folks lived here, this was a wonderful area to hang out in. Hell, it's a wonderful area to hang out in right now. All right, YouTube, after a long walk and getting a little bit lost, we found our way to Plaza de Mayo. All right, looks like it's time, YouTube, for our obligatory church visit. We seem to have one in every city, and we're going to walk across the street here to go to the cathedral and check out what the cathedral in Buenos Aires looks like once we're inside. As long as it's okay to shoot in there, I'll bring you some video from inside. All right, we've made our way inside of the cathedral, and I have to say, as far as church spaces go, this is right up there with as impressive as it gets. Certainly not of the grandeur of the Vatican, but definitely a close second, I would say. This is as impressive as you'll see in most places. At least in the scale of the building and the scale of the artwork inside. We'll step over here to the central section of the church so you can get a better view. All right, YouTube. Ugly American, walking and talking. That cathedral was something else, as you'll see from the video. I mean, wow. I was, to be honest with you, I was tempted to skip it. We have done quite a lot of churches of late in a lot of different cities, and I don't know, I just was kind of churched out a little bit, and I was thinking about bypassing it and moving on to other sights and sounds here in the city. But I am glad that we did. That was one hell of a church. Definitely a place to visit if you come here. Even if you're not religious, I mean, just for the architecture, just for the art inside, the history, and the feat of building that it took to build such a thing. Really, really amazing. Beautiful structure and a beautiful place to visit if you're here in town. Do not skip it. Don't be stupid like me. Proof that this is in fact a Catholic country. We are no more than a block or so away from the massive cathedral downtown, and here is yet another lovely example of church architecture right in the center of town. So I've found my way into a little snack shop here where I'm going to pick up some water and some nuts. I don't feel like eating a full meal, but I do want something real quick, so I'm probably going to get some of what they call the premium mix right here. So I don't want to buy a big bag. But I also have almonds, which look pretty good down here, and cashews and walnuts. But premium mix pretty much has everything, and I think that's what I'm going to go with. As well as a water, syngas without gas. They have it with con gas and syngas right there. So basically with bubbles or without. You don't need anything as fancy as the bubble water. So it's happened again, YouTube. Another city, another mall. This one is supposed to be pretty nice. It's called the Galleria Pacifica, right off of Calais, Florida, in downtown. And from the looks of it, yeah, it's pretty impressive. It seems like a covered shopping mall with a giant skylight. And this thing runs about 2 blocks in either direction, so it's quite large as well. We're going to walk through here a bit and check out some of the shops and stores and see what it has to offer. Well, I take back what I said. This is not just another mall. This is fancy. Good Lord, look at this place. This is about as nice a mall as I've ever been in. Very, very well thought out, very well put together, and exceptionally nice in all of its offerings, shops and stores. Of course, I'm guessing it's also quite expensive, but, you know, hey, you get what you pay for type of thing, right? But the mall itself is lovely on the inside. Beautiful, beautiful space. It's almost as nice as some of the buildings on the outside. In fact, they've, in some of the architectural details, I don't know if you can see this in here behind me, sort of brought the outside inside here in mimicking the way that the buildings look and bringing that inside as well. So, don't really think I'm going out on a limb here when I say the Galleria Pacifica is definitely where the other half shops in Buenos Aires, because this is a high-end retail establishment for sure. Some interesting art right there. Now this right here is a mall Christmas tree. Look at this thing, wow. Swarovski crystals all over it, which to me is nothing but fancy glass, but hey, to each his own. And look at that ceiling. Pretty darn impressive here in the mall. Makes you feel like less like you're in a mall and more like you're in a museum. But don't be mistaken, it's still a mall. But a pretty mall. And that is one heck of a mall Christmas tree. So back home we can go to any number of shopping malls, plazas, places like that, and Hope has never asked me once in all of the years that we've been together to go look at leather goods. Never. It's never happened. And yet every single place that we go across the planet, without exception, whenever we pass one of these stores selling custom leather goods and items like that, purses, jackets, shoes, wallets, things like that, she wants to stop. She wants to browse. She'll then ask me about 10 or 15 different items. Should I buy this? Should I buy that? And every single time, without exception, she decides that it's not something that she needs and we move on. But nevertheless, we end up having to stop in every one of these type of stores that we run into in whatever city we might be in. One thing that of course varies from place to place wherever we go is the quality of these type of stores that sell these leather goods and whatnot. Not just the quality of the items, but the quality of the presentation and the quality of the window dressings and things like that. And this one here, right off the Cali, Florida, is really exceptional. This is a nice store. And the quality of the items inside here is also quite high-end. A lot of cutlery here, leather shoes, jackets, purses, bags, backpacks, pretty much anything you could want. Here's a bust of Clint Eastwood. Hope looking at something she doesn't need. So while it goes without saying that the Rock can pull off a fanny pack, it is not something that I'm in a hurry to try out myself. But I do want some sort of a bag that I can carry with myself, short of a pack, to keep camera equipment and microphones and cell phones and things like that in. And I've been having a hell of a time, no matter how many of these leather stores we go to, finding one that I really want. Because as it seems, the ones they make for men only come in two colors, black and brown. And neither one of which is particularly alluring to me. And so if anybody out there has any suggestions or ideas, or maybe you own one, send it to me, or just put the link down in the comments so I can check it out. I would appreciate it. All right, YouTube, that's it. The end of 2 days in Buenos Aires, Argentina. 2 eventful days that were beautiful to say the least. So if you're in this country, I recommend checking it out 100%. Until next time, I'm the Ugly American. Don't forget to like and subscribe. All right, YouTube, here's a little bit of an Ugly American supplemental for you. This is our sunset sail away from Buenos Aires, Argentina. And that is quite a sight. Beautiful view of the city skyline as we sail out of the harbor here in Buenos Aires. And we are also lucky enough to do it just as the sun is setting over there behind the city. So it's a tremendous view here.